is, high stakes, high competitive, kind of a situation. So you're going to have teams that are going to pull out every stop, and so it's just part of the process.
Do you see a resolution soon, or could this drag out until the trading deadline in March?
I mean, we hope to get a resolution, but like we said, we don't have a timeline.
What's your biggest need? Are you looking for young talent? Are you looking to reload with veterans? I mean, what do you think the team needs?
We're looking at the best possible situation for the Hornets. And whatever that is, that's what we want to pursue. And, there's many options out there, and we just haven't found one that, we feel that's in the best interest of the team at this time.
Hugh, some fans may be wondering if, with all the stuff that's going on, could it affect ownership or possibility of people getting cold feet because of what's going on? Have you had any indication like that?
Actually, no. I think this would perhaps speed the process up a little bit. I think everyone feels that if an owner was local, that much of the angst that we're feeling, and as a fan base and as a media group and as whatever, and I would even say so far as when you talk about players who are considering coming to our team, it's not that they have any concern about Dell or Monty. It's just potentially a new owner coming in, and that's part of the business, right? They could replace all of us if they want to. So, no, I think actually the NBA and we'll continue to. We've talked about this timeline of mid to late January. If anything, I think we're dead on that timeline.
Hugh, when we all know that this franchise is more valuable than Chris Paul. But when it's kind of understood that he's either going to be there now or going to leave at the end of the year, in the potential owner's eyes, how is that moving someone now?
Well, yeah, the assumption that a player like Chris has value is when it translates into revenue, right? When people are buying tickets only for or because of that player. And I think what the fan base here has traditionally done over time, whether good or bad, is that they support this team because it's a community treasure, because they believe in what we're doing, because of how we give back and the connection we have to the city. So certainly, we're going to have a strategy in terms of working with our fans and our sponsors and making sure they continue to see the value in what we do. But it's only when those revenues take a hit that potentially a capital cost for an owner would take a hit. But we don't see that happening.
Do you have an update on the ownership situation? Because, Dell just talked about things leaking out. It doesn't seem like much is leaked out.
We're really good at this.
Is there anything to leak out? I mean, is there a potential owner?
There's plenty to leak out, and again, you have Jack Sperling leading this charge, and he's a consummate pro. He knows how to do this, and we're doing it right. So yeah, I can tell you that these are complicated transactions, right? They're big investments. They don't get done in 45 days from scratch. They're pretty far along.
And just another question is that you talked about how proud you were of everybody. I mean, it seemed like you all were one of the great stories of the lockout. All the season tickets you sold and all the hard work you did and everything like that. Are you a little frustrated at the fact that the second everything is resolved, this situation pops up?
No. I mean, you look at this organization, and I've been fortunate to be part of it for 6 years, and what this organization has been through has gotten us to a point where we're battle tested, right? We've seen it. We know what it is, and Monty and Dell and I have talked about this, especially over time, not just the last couple of days, but through a variety of things. That there's two guys that I would, I'm so glad in my foxhole, right? These are the type of guys that I want next to me, taking on whatever it is, and so this is just another challenge. It makes us stronger in terms of who we are as an organization, and gives us actually a lot of confidence that we know what we're doing, and we're going to get through this.
Hugh, as battle tested as you and Dell are, could you anticipate something like this occurring?
Well, I talked about the last few days feeling like a pregnancy, right? You've been pregnant for 9 months, it's coming, but you're 5 days overdue, really. So you just never know what to expect sometimes in terms of how these things unfold, and I think that's part of the philosophy you have to have in roles like Dell's and mine and Monty's, is you've got to figure out how to adapt in the moment. These are not jobs where you sit around at a bank and just continually count certain things. So yeah, we've been planning for this for a long time, planning for this moment in time when in the decision tree when things had to be decided and changed, and nobody prepares more than Dell staff. I mean, I'm telling you, these guys are incredibly professional.
I know a trade is never done until it's done, but was there any moment on Thursday night that you felt like you guys were real close there with the deal?
Until the owner says yes. What they say, until the fat lady sings, it's just never a deal. It's like, it's just never a deal until the owner says go. And even when an owner says go, you don't know if another owner is going to say no. You know, so until really, technically, a call is made to the league, which consummates the deal, there is no deal. You can have a player fail a physical. There's tons of things that happen. So again, I think back to Dell's point, you know, the caliber of player that Chris is, the fact that we're owned by the league has made this, you know, so titillating, I guess.
But you would admit that if you had an owner, we wouldn't be here talking about this. Would you admit that?
I think that it's very similar to the situation that happened last year in Denver, Utah, and when you have a big time player and he is not going to extend with you, I think it becomes a story. And I think we still would be here talking about it, to answer your question.
Dell, is it unfair if the deal is not done in the next, by the opener in Phoenix? Would you, to have this team on the floor in an NBA regular season game, would that be unfair, do you think?
Well, first of all, I think that just the opportunity to play on an NBA floor is more than fair. And I think we're all lucky. I mean, I feel like I got the luckiest job in the world. And so I wouldn't say it's unfair. I think playing basketball is a great thing to do. And I love the NBA and the opportunity. And so I would say I would not characterize it as being unfair.
Was there a feeling within the organization that this is kind of the last major step? Or do you guys are about to turn the next page and sort of start a new chapter in the Hornets organization? Or?
Yeah, well, you know, we've been planning, again, the rebirth, the rebranding with the new ownership in terms of what this connection feels to the community for a long time. That's what the whole I'm In campaign was about. That's what the hiring of Monty was about. It's the hiring of Dell was about. Let's not forget it was just a year ago that Dell and his staff stepped in, you know, 23 new people in basketball operations that weren't here a year ago. You know, so we have been, you know, again, inching toward this, building this organization into one that we want it to be, and to be an elite organization. And this is just a step along the way as we see it.
Can you say with definitive certainty, just to end the speculation, that the Hornets are not a candidate for contraction as a result of this situation?
Again, this has nothing, those that are thinking conspiracy and all that other crazy stuff, I can't even speak to it because it's so ridiculous.
Down the road,
How much does this hamstring you guys as a teammate? You got a guy, you know he's not going to be here, you don't know whether to play him, not play him, you don't want him to get hurt, don't want to trade value, get him the best player you have. You want to be competitive and get without him, you know, that's going to hurt that for you.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, you know, I definitely admit, like, you know, when a team is trying to get together, they want to get continuity. And, you know, teams that play together for long periods of time seem to gel better. And we are missing that opportunity. But, you know, as optimists that we are, we're looking at this as an opportunity that, you know, we got a lot of young guys in here right now that are fighting and trying to prove themselves and prove they're NBA players. And so we're getting an opportunity to see them. And so we're not going to rush the process. We're just not going to do it. We're going to do the right things and do our due diligence. And yes, it might slow us down as a team short term, but we just feel like in the long term it's for the benefit.
I have a question. Hugh, I imagine you would agree this is a star-driven league. LeBron, we have our own stars. Chris Paul. I'm trying to understand how, if he is a part of this team and ends up leaving the NBA, how fans are going to be sold on viewing this team as being worth buying a ticket for, if they know that without Chris Paul and without proper pieces
Right.
in place, that people want to see a winner.
No question.
If you don't get the pieces when the chance to get them are hot and strong,
Right.
it makes it difficult now. I'm trying to sell that to fans that bought 10,000 season tickets.
Right.
A big part because of Chris Paul.
Well, one I'll say is that when we sold the 10,000 season tickets, we didn't have a player to talk about, right? We had a work stoppage situation.
But you knew Chris was going to be.
Of course. But there's always been some uncertainty about, I mean, a year ago we were talking about the meeting, right? Between Dell and I and Monty. I mean, so I think my sense of fans is they want stability, right? They want to know this team is theirs, that we're going to be here for generations, and that, you know, that they can come to a game and have a great time, which we always do, win or lose, people say, And so I think the ownership and having that done in a manner that's, you know, timely, I think is probably going to be part of the marketing plan and strategy we do. At the same time, we've always built our team and our brand as being transparent and open, and Monty and Dell have talked about what we're doing and how we're doing it in a very open way, getting input from fans and talking about what we do. And in that way, we hope that the fan base understands where we are, what we're doing, and finally, we have a bunch of guys in our roster that want to be here, right? And that's what I think the people in this community care about.
What do you
Going
think
back
about
to
the
that
way
meeting that you talked about.
what do you think about the way Monty has handled the whole situation, dealing with the players who are here or who may not be here?
I think he's doing a great job. I mean, he's out there coaching, he's enthusiastic. I mean, I was in practice yesterday, he's getting in the drills and, you know, making plays. And so, you know, mine's great. You know, he's a fighter, he's tough, he's smart, intelligent, and prepared. And so, you know, Monty, you know, he's a team guy. He understands what's going on.
Going back to the meeting you referred to, you with, in July, right after Dell and Rod with Chris, it was said at that time that he didn't ask for a trade. At that moment, did he give you any indication that he was going to opt out after next year, and have you been preparing for that eventuality since last year?
You know, at times it's like an elephant in the room. You know it's there. And, you know, when we talked to Chris last year, you know, we're saying, hey, you know, we want to build this, we want to build a team, we'd love to have you a part of it. We want you here, we think you're great. And we did everything that we could to provide that. You know, I thought last year was great. You know, I still remember, you know, game 3, walking in the arena and getting chills when you saw the t-shirts, you know, on the seats and the people standing up and, you know, winning game 4 in the playoffs. And we want to bring that back. And, you know, did we want Chris to be a part of it? Yes. And, you know, we wish him the best if that trade happens and when it happens. But again, we've always prepared for every option. You know, we can't go into things blindly. And, you know, I want to thank Chris. You know, he was honest and forthright because he didn't drag us along and make us think this and that. And it's important to him that the franchise is okay. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, I go around the city and I see the basketball courts that he has and his foundation and things he's done to the community. And I think even if he doesn't play here, you know, he'll always be a part of this community.
But did he say then he would not extend?
At that time?
Yes.
No, we did not.
Are you all maybe a little bit discouraged, given the fact that it seems like the whole lockout, while it did get a percentage back from the players that will seemingly help small market teams, it seems like the systems issues are right back where they started again, with stars demanding to go to big cities and big contracts given to players that are questionable. Is it a little discouraging, given the fact that the fight was about making it fair and balanced and fixing the systems, and it seems like universally the systems may not have been fixed?
I'm not discouraged at all. You know, I couldn't wait for, you know, the lockout to end, to see the changes and, you know, to move on and play. You know, like I said, I feel like I got the best job in the world. I really do. And I just look at it as an opportunity.
Hey, Dell, given the sourced reports that have come out in the last 5 days, I think we all acknowledge that. The first alleged trade involving the Lakers and Rockets would indicate that you guys were building for the moment, the present. The second alleged trade that involves the Clippers, all right, would suggest that you guys are building for a longer term, younger players, less contracts. What is the truth? What are you guys seeking? Is there a combination of both of those alleged reports, or where are you guys trying to go with this trade?
We're just looking at the. I know I'm being vague.
I know you.
But and I'm not trying to be but there's so many options. I mean, if you walk to my office right now, you know, we got option A, B, C, D, then 1, 2, 3. It's just so many variables out there, and we're just looking for the best one. And can I say what that is right now? I cannot.
But the league, the commissioner's office would suggest that they're going for a longer term deal,
Right.
a more stable, as opposed to getting the playoffs now or next year. Is that accurate, would you say, or no?
I would say that we're leaning towards that. But again, if a great situation came up right now, we wouldn't turn it down. You know, we're looking at all avenues.
And I think it had more to do with the assets, the entire asset package in general. I mean, how many times do you arguably trade a potential Hall of Fame player in his prime? I mean, so I think that's an opinion that says, you know what, we just need more assets. So I think that I wouldn't look too deep or too far. You know, bottom line, as Dell said, we're building a team that people can be proud of. You know, whether they're young, And the style of play, they're going to play hard for Monty. He's going to get everything out of it. So.
Bill, when you say you're working closely with the league, does that mean there's deference to you in this situation, being that you should know better what this team needs more so than somebody in New York?
I would say you know better. I think it's more
Well, you should know
No,
better.
it's collaborative, you know? And, you know, I'm a collaborator. I think, like, you know, we get together and we sit down, we throw ideas out, and we figure out, you know, what's the best one.
You talked about last week, you had that meeting with Chris. Did you guys push that you could sign a 2-year extension and 5
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you know, the way the new rules work is that extensions can only be 4 years in length. And Chris has this year, an option year, next year, option year next year, and he can extend for 2 more. And so, you know, we talked about possibilities, we talked about it with his representatives, and he just said he wasn't prepared to do it at this time. And, you know, that's Chris's choice, and we respect it. And so, you know, decided, you know, to look at other options.
Have any other agents, you have veteran players on your team who may not want to be part of a rebuilding effort, so to say, have any other players, agents come forward or acknowledge the fact that they may want to be included or involved in any type of deal with Chris?
Not at all.
Okay.
No, it's both the negativity of the trade for you in particular, but there's also obviously a positive side. We were going to have the opportunity to sort of draft and do a lot more scouting than what we've done in previous years. I know you were in Lithuania this summer, for example. Could you talk about the positives of this deal for you as a general manager?
I mean, it's exciting. You know, this is my going into my second year here, and when I was in San Antonio, you know, we had a lot of success. So a lot of times we were drafting later in the rounds, and we're looking for alternative measures. And you know, now if we do get an earlier pick, that'll be something different. It's fun and exciting. You know, I got a lot of friends and colleagues that had draft picks like that, and we have people on our staff that have done that. And so we're going to be prepared for every avenue. And so, like I said, I love this job. This is a great situation. It's great working with Hugh, Monty, and the league. And you know, I'm telling you, I'm having a blast. I'm telling you guys, I read some of the stuff that comes on the internet. It makes me laugh because you know I'm having fun. I want to make sure I tell you guys that I am.
I was a little concerned. No one was worried if I was happy or not.
Thank you, everybody. Monty will be brought up to